What up, YouTube? T Moose here. Here is my throwback segment where I talk about the films that turns 10 and 20 this week. Alright, the films turning 10, we got No Strings Attached. Now, this movie came out in an interesting year where, because this film came out in the same year as another Friends with Benefit-based movie, simply titled, well, Friends with Benefits. And in this film, it stars Ashton Kutcher and Natalie Portman, who plays these lifelong friends who take their relationship to the next level by doing the deeds. And they are afraid of ruining their friendship, and so they decided to make a pact of, by keeping things purely physical with no fighting, no jealousy, and no expectations. And the only question is who will fall in love with each other first. I mean, it's a really decent film. It's very Hollywood had a really habit of doing these Friends with Benefits movies. I mean, a year before they did that Love and Other Drugs film with Jake Gyllenhaal and Hathaway. Then, of course, they did Friends with Benefits with Justin Timberlake and Mila Kunis, and now they also did No Strings Attached. I mean, they had Hollywood had a thing with Friends with Benefits nowadays. I had no idea what that was about, but anyway, No Strings Attached was directed by Ivan Reitman, the same guy who gave us Ghostbusters, Kindergarten Cop. He gave us some pretty decent classic movies. And No Strings Attached is a really decent one. It's really funny, cute, charming, great cast too. You also had Kevin Kline was in this. You had Ludacris. Really interesting cast list. So if you guys haven't really seen No Strings Attached, definitely give that one a go. Alright. Also, turning 10, we got The Company Man, which stars the likes of Ben Affleck. Directed by John Wells, who also gave us the TV show Shameless. And it stars Ben Affleck as Bobby Walker, who is on a fact trap to the top of this manufacturing conglomerate, and he is this rising star at work, and all the materials trapping to success. Then his company goes through a rounds of layoffs. So this is a bit of an unemployment-based movie here. You also had Chris Cooper, Tommy Lee Jones was in this film. Really decent flick. It's a film about the workplace, so there's that. I mean, Ben Affleck was pretty solid in this. I mean, come on, you had Batman and Two-Face in one movie. What more can you ask for that? If you guys haven't really seen The Company Man, definitely give this one a go. Very underrated, too. It did not really get talked about a whole lot after the movie got released, but pretty decent film. Alright, last but not least, we got The Whey Bag. Now, it takes place in 1939, and Janusz, who's announced by his wife as a possible spy in 1939, he ends up finding himself in this remote Siberian labor camp, and he is faced with brutal conditions inside and out, and he is determined to escape, but Blizzard provides him with the perfect opportunity, and he and a small group of fellow prisoners make a break for it and escape. And so it's pretty much like a survival-based movie. This movie did pretty well with critics. Sad to say, I thought the movie was boring. I remember watching this thing in theaters. I almost fell asleep when I was watching this film. Now, The Way Back, not to be confused with the Ben Affleck movie, by the way. That's a totally different film. The Ben Affleck one was pretty good. But this is a 2011 movie with Jim Sturgis, Mark Strong. You had I think Colin Farrell was in this, if I'm not mistaken. You also had, who else? Oh yeah, Saoirse Ronan was in this film. Some really interesting cast list. It was directed by Pierre Ware, who also gave us Master Commander, The Truman Show. Interesting resume, but sad to say I was not a fan of this movie at all. I was completely bored by this film, so, yeah. Anyway. Now the film that is turning 20, holy cow, I can't believe this is 20 years old, and that is Donnie Darko. Donnie Darko is an awesome film. I mean, it is a very interesting, creepy movie about a creepy rabbit. You had Jake Gyllenhaal. This is actually the movie that really put Jake Gyllenhaal on the map. And you got Jake Gyllenhaal, who plays a teenager named Donnie Darko, who sleepwalks out of his house one night and sees a giant demonic looking rabbit named Frank, who tells him the world will end in 28 days. And Donnie ends up returning home, and he finds out that a jet engine has crashed in his bedroom. and Donnie feels like he's like living in a parallel universe, or is, like, he could easily be suffering mental illness. It's a really interesting, creepy based film, directed by Richard Kelly, who did a good job of directing. You also had an interesting cast. You had Janet Malone was in this. You had Drew Barrymore, the late Patrick Swayze. Some really interesting cast lists. I mean, this movie is very creepy. Heck, Seth Rogen's actually in this movie too, and I believe Ashley Tisdale was in this as well. So, boy, interesting early roles of stars in today's world. But anyway, Donnie Darko is great. I mean, if you guys haven't really seen Donnie Darko by now, go watch it. You'll enjoy it. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Let me leave with you guys. Which of these films stand out to you the most? The 10-year ones, I'm gonna say No Strings Attached. That movie was pretty good. The 20-year one, I'm gonna say Donnie Darko. Donnie Darko is just terrific. Anyway, drop a comment below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for more notifications. This is Tim Moose signing out.